He says she's not his person, and she's asking him, why isn't it working? What hasn't worked for him? If they were in the real world, would they have gone longer? When she said that, I was like, Madison, have we been watching the same show? And Joe is honest with her, and he says no. They've actually lasted longer because he was an experiment, and I agree. But she keeps asking to get where his head is at. And as a woman, I'm like, where is the pride? Why do you keep asking this man what hasn't worked out? I don't give a ish.
What jolts you awake? What keeps you up? Stay in touch with me if you can.
Hello and welcome to Life Lessons and Confession, the channel where we figure out our power by figuring out ourselves. My name is Paola. Whether you're new or a returning viewer, welcome. Please don't forget to hit the like button, the subscribe button, as well as the bell notification. Alright, so let's jump into our Love is Blind review of episode 10 and 11. Episode 10 stars with Annie asking Nick if he loves her. Nick is full of ish, okay? He says he loves her. She feels like he doesn't really love her, even though he's saying he loves her. And again, like, we've been through this before. Nick is very performative. It is a show for him. He is putting on the show of his life. It is a big old production. And he keeps reassuring her. She doesn't believe it. I don't know. I feel like Annie also has some issues, which is why she's not able to fully express how she feels. It's just like, there's something going on there, okay? So after they have that little conversation, Nick says, well, he doesn't think it's going to go through because he keeps telling her she loves him, but she's putting words in his mouth. And I was so happy. I was like, yes, Nick, yes, break it off. I'm tired of seeing this dumb show. I know in his mind, he probably thinks he's doing a lot, but Nick, you're not doing anything. Nick, you are very performative. Maybe it's editing, maybe it's you. I don't know. Get him off my screen. So he breaks it off for her. He doesn't feel like he can say no, and this woman starts begging. Wholeheartedly begging. Saying she doesn't need a yes from him. She doesn't need a no. She just needs him to try. The man just said he does not want to be in a relationship with you anymore. Why are you begging? I'm not gonna lie. That was cringy. That is the most cringy thing I've ever seen. I don't expect breaking up to be easy by any means. All right. When y'all are begging like that, it's just, where's the pride? I guess that's it for me. That's it. Maybe I'm too prideful. Maybe that's actually my problem. I am too prideful, but I'm just like, to beg to that extent. This woman kept begging. They started packing their clothes because they're going their separate ways. He said he doesn't see a future with her. So they're going their separate ways. They're both packing. She keeps coming back into the room and like, try to get him to, it's not working out, Annie. Just go your separate way. That's all right. It is okay. You don't have to be in a relationship with him. I mean, granted, Nick is performing, but during this episode, I was just like, okay, now I can actually see the faults in Annie. Because I thought it was very mature of him to break it off right then and there instead of keeping the show going. Because honestly, I don't know why Nick came. Maybe he came for his social media following. Maybe, but it's just like, everyone this season has been so performative, but I'm just like, why are you begging this man to stay with you? That's embarrassing. That was so embarrassing. I was having secondhand embarrassment. Please let me know if y'all were also having secondhand embarrassment like I was. Alini and Anton talk. There was a 12-pack in the fridge, and now it has gone missing. I think it's safe to say we know who drank it. Like, Anton is an alcoholic. I am sorry, okay? Just because he's a party boy does not mean he drinks a lot of alcohol. I actually know people who love party, but they don't drink anything. So, I'm not saying because he's a party boy, he drinks a lot, but the drinking of the mimosas in the morning, then again, okay, he works night shift. He comes back in the morning. Maybe that's a normal thing. I don't know. I don't work night shift. But there was a 12-pack. Alini says she's only drank 2 and the rest is missing. First, Anton tries to gaslight her and says she's the one who drank it. She said, no, I drank 2. Then he says he drank 3. After that, he says Patrick came over and they drank 4. Then after that, it becomes they both drank one each. And I'm just like, Anton, you don't know how much you drank. It's one or two things. Either you're both is lying, or you drank so much to the point you were inebriated, you forgot how much you drank. Either one is bad. First of all, beer is disgusting. I don't know how y'all drink it. Ew, gross. First, beer is disgusting, and for you to drink all of that by yourself, and then after that, she asks if the tequila that was in the fridge is still there and it's gone. So he does get a little bit defensive because he feels she is calling him out for being an alcoholic, which I think he is. After a while, she asks him what does a normal day look like for him, and he says coming back from work, watching Netflix, watching TV, and having a drink. She said that's concerning, and I agree. That is very concerning. If you have a drink every single time you watch TV at night, first of all, that's like maybe what? Let's be generous. 5 times during a week, you're having at least one drink. And if you're watching TV, you may not be paying attention to the amount of drinks you're having. That's very concerning. I'm sorry. I do know I am a lightweight, and it might be a little bit different for me. And maybe during the course of a year, I will only have like 2 drinks max. But I can go a whole year without drinking. So I know the way I function is a little bit different than how a lot of people function. But that's really concerning. You have a drink every day? I don't know. That's a lot. That's a lot. Maybe Anton is not a full-on alcoholic, but he drinks a lot, and that is very concerning. Megan and Jordan meet Jordan's family. Honestly, they're really sweet. They're really kind. I like his family. I was kind of a bit surprised because Jordan comes across as a jester. His mom and dad are very chill people. They just seem like a chill, loving couple. So I was a bit surprised by that. And it was so sweet when she asked his mom, she said, well, traditionally it is the man who asks for the woman's hand, but she wanted to ask his parent for his hand, and they agreed. They love her, they think she's great, and she's a good match for their son. And I couldn't agree more. I like these two together. They're not perfect by any means, don't get me wrong, but I genuinely like their dynamic. So KB and Edmund talk. Apparently there was a story before what we saw at the rodeo place. KB gives us the whole breakdown of how she needed Edmund to do something. She's not used to asking for her partners for help. And in this instance, she needed his help with getting some scarves, getting hats, so that they could match and fit the theme of the rodeo. He didn't do that, so she had to do it. And then once she comes in, he just pretends like nothing happens. It's just like, yeah, KB, that's exactly how a child acts with their mom. It's like, oh no, mom, I'm not going to do it. The mom does it and she just forgives because, that's her baby. That's what mothers do. Edmund is a child. He is a toddler. Love is blind. Just put this lady out of her misery. That's all I have to ask. It's just like, just put this lady out of her misery. Edmund is a child. He's not a fit for anyone, especially not her. Edmund is a smart man, but he's just very childish and very immature. It doesn't mean his intelligence is not there, but it's just, he's very childish. And you should not be dating when you're immature. I'm going to stick to that. I said what I said. Please put this lady out of her misery. Because the more she's actually arguing with him, the more I'm looking at her like, why do you keep giving this man so many chances? Because at this point, I'm like, girl, just break it off. No one would be mad at you if you broke it off with him. We would be happy because I want to see you out of your misery. I don't know if she's been forced to stay there by Love is Blind. Some people in previous seasons have said production has forced them or they felt forced. I don't know if that's the case, but I'm just like, please put this lady out of her misery because I'm actually tired of seeing both of them on my screen. I just want her to be happy and to go find an actual mature man who's going to look out for her. So Joe and Madison meet Madison's family and everything makes sense. And for some reason, her family thought Joe was genuine. I was like, this man is saying the most basic things ever. A lot of women do this. When a man seems like he is struggling with words, they will fill it in for him. Please stop doing that. This is how y'all get played. when he's struggling for words, oh no, keep quiet. He's an adult. He can express himself. Trust me. I didn't like the fact that her family kept filling it in for her because he didn't actually say much. And when he wanted to describe what he liked about Madison and her personality, her family gave him that fiery adjective. So he went along with it. Oh yeah, she's fiery. It's like, you weren't even thinking that, Joe. You didn't care. You don't care. Anyways, that is just my advice for the week. Stop filling in words for men when you feel like they're not expressing themselves. Give them time to express themselves. They'll figure it out. They're not children. Because it's in filling in those words that you're going to miss the red signs that are just like flashing in front of you. So during this episode, Anton's mom meets with Alini. She seems like a really nice lady. And she has a thick Russian accent. I wasn't expecting that. Anton said he was Russian, but because of how he speaks, I didn't pay attention. But then when his mom came in, I was like, oh, okay. And his mom does seem to hold the same traditional values that Anton wants. You know, him being the head of the household, his wife being the supporting character. But hey, you know, she's a nurturer. His mother does like Alini. She thinks she's a good match for her son, and everything is cool. So now moving on to the couples trying on wedding dresses and their suits. On the guy's side, everyone is kind of like just calm. Anton is a little bit nervous though, but then again, who isn't nervous? His mother does reassure him that it's completely normal for him to be nervous on his wedding day. And then Anton has this friend, Jake, who apparently is a preacher. He's just slapping words left and right, pa, pa, pa. The whole time I'm listening, I'm like, who is this man? We got preacher Jake in the house. Okay. So that was a nice little scene to see, because sometimes I feel like the men, when they're trying on their suits, it's just, again, really bland statements. Nothing substantial. So I felt like that interaction was a little bit more substantial. But apparently Joe was so nervous and freaking out during the suit trials that this man decides to leave midway. This is so crazy. He's the groom and he's going on to try suits. Nothing works for him. In the middle of him trying on the suits, he decides to leave the place with his friends still in there. Joe, are you okay? Are you okay? If I was your friend, I would probably laugh, okay? But we really gotta talk. You just gonna leave me after you leave out the back door? What is happening? I saw that. I was listen. I probably should not have laughed at that scene, but I was laughing the whole time. It's like, imagine being the friend. You coming there to support your friend and him trying his tux for his wedding. And then he leaves you behind because he's getting cold feet. You can't tell me. You can't let me know. That's messed up. Anyways, and on the girl's side, basically, it's all fun. It's all joy. Everyone is trying on their wedding dresses and they look beautiful as usual. So episode 10 ends, episode 11 begins, and Madison finds out Joe left midway trying his suit. He doesn't think this is going to work out for him. Are we surprised, class? We're not. I knew from the second Joe saw Madison, he was not into this girl at all. Not even a little bit. That's why he didn't propose. He didn't get on one knee immediately and propose to her. He was not into this girl. He comes into the apartment. The two are talking. He says she's not his person. And she's asking him, why isn't it working? What hasn't worked for him? If they were in the real world, would they have gone longer? When she said that, I was like, Madison, have we been watching the same show? And Joe is honest with her. And he says, no, they've actually lasted longer because he was an experiment. And I agree. But she keeps asking to get where his head is at. And as a woman, I'm like, where is the pride? Why do you keep asking this man what hasn't worked out? I don't give a ish. I've never understood those closure girls. Because I'm like, if you don't like me, I don't like you. We do not have to discuss it. We are all people. We are all adults. Okay, so we all have our good points and our bad points. I agree. If the relationship is not working with someone and they're not willing to try to let you know what's not working for them, They shouldn't be in a relationship. That's just how I see it. And I know it's a little bit harsh. Maybe it's harsh because I've never been in love. After watching so many Love is Blind shows and seeing how some women react, I'm starting to believe not being in a lot of relationship is starting to look like a green flag. Because one of the advice I always give people is like, try it out. Go out. Date. Explore. See what works for you. See what doesn't work for you. But apparently it also breeds a spirit of desperation when you just put yourself out there and you get rejected a lot. The desperation, and it's not just from these women, by the way. The desperation is just too much. Someone doesn't want to be with you and you keep asking them what didn't work. Who cares? The whole conversation, I was just like, where is your pride as a woman, Madison? Where is your pride as a woman? This man is saying you are not his person. I'm not saying cuss him out. But I will be damned to sit there and ask you what didn't work. What could we have done better? The freak I look like. Anyways, so after their conversation, Madison takes the ring off because she's not broke. You can learn a thing or two, Casey. I do think Madison should keep the ring though, because she's been through a lot with this man. This is an instance where I'm like, keep the ring. Unlike Casey, who was not attracted to the guy, just broke it off and ran off to Denver with the ring. It's like, yo, broke girl. This is an instance where I feel like Madison should actually keep the ring. But she took it off, she put it in a box, and they went their separate ways. They ended up amicably. She said, even though the experiment did not pan out the way she had hoped, she's happy she had it with Joe. I'm like, girl, are you serious? Joe's a creep. But okay, you know what? At least she is mature. KB and Emmett get on a snowmobile and they go up to the mountains. And KB talks about how he has been ignoring her. They had another disagreement and he doesn't think he did anything wrong. But when the cameras are rolling, he's all cherry. Now he wants to hold her and touch her. It's just... The more I hear about these disagreements between KB and Edmund, the more I'm actually getting mad at KB and not Edmund. Edmund is childish. He's immature. Girl, I know she's trying to do something different. I know that. It's not working though. And now, instead of me being annoyed at him, I'm being annoyed at you because you're still here. Why are you here? I really want this lady to come out and be like, Love is Blind. The producers kind of made it feel as though I had to go to the altar because maybe we are the only minority couple left. Other people have said that before. Because right now it's just... Edmund is getting on my nerve, but KB, you are slowly creeping up there. Break it off. This man is not it. No one will blame you. We see his childish ways. He is not mature even a little bit. And I know she's trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, but it's just not working. And during that disagreement, she calls him the B word. And I was like, oh gosh. I am completely against partners, men or women, calling their partner the B word or any other derogatory word. I don't think love encompasses that. If someone triggers you to the point where you have to get out of your character and say something you don't mean, they're not a person you should be around. And this is just life lesson. They're not a person you should be around. They're not a friend you should be around. They're definitely not a romantic partner you should be around. For a person to trigger you to the point where you feel like you have to cuss him out to get your point across because he keeps interrupting you. You are frustrated with his character. You feel like he's a different person on and off the screen. Leave them where they are. And when she did that, I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. Although I understand her frustration, it did seem like it was a slip of the tongue because she did say verbatim, stop cutting me off, B word. So it did seem like it was a slip of the tongue. It might be a Freudian slip, whatever. But for me, it was just a no. It was just a no. If you feel like you have to disrespect your partner like that, granted, actions are also disrespectful. It's not just words. And she probably did say that because she does feel disrespected. But it's just, that was where for me, I was like, KB, you are entering into dangerous territory. So Jordan and Megan go to get hats made, and that place was so cute. I am a hats girl myself. I know a lot of people do not wear hats lately, but I love wearing hats. If you've seen any of my videos, you will see me with my traditional Bamileke hat. I love my hat, okay? It is a tribal hat, by the way. So the camera pans to KB and Edmund. He comes in with flowers. He apologizes for ignoring her. He apologizes for cutting her off and all that. And she accepts his apology. And I'm like, no. I was just like, why? Let's just end the train wreck. So moving back to Megan and Jordan, they finally have, I think, a real argument. Because their relationship had been so Luca heavy. And it hasn't really been about the two of them. It's been about the two of them. Her potentially becoming a stepmom to this child who also had the same disease as her father. So that has been the crux of their relationship. And although some people might feel like that's a bad thing, I don't see anything wrong with that. But now they really have a conversation about how Megan feeds off Jordan's energy. And if he's quiet, she feels like she has to be quiet. Whereas when he's more talkative, she feels like she's more talkative. As a similar woman, I understand. And they have this disagreement because she works by herself. She's in tech. She's a businesswoman. She's in tech. So she works by herself. She doesn't talk to a lot of people. Whereas he talks to a lot of people doing work. So when he wants to come home, he just wants peace, quiet, serenity. He doesn't really want to talk. And when he comes home to her at the house, she feels like now this is a time for me to really talk about my day. I've been in a quiet environment the whole time. Now there's human connection. And I just felt so bad for these two because I completely understand. It can be very tiring to always talk every single time, especially if that's what you do for work on Jordan's side. And also on Megan's side, as a person who records videos in her house and then has to edit it for a long period of time, it is also refreshing to have that human connection where you do get to talk to another person after having a long day of you just being in your head, in your mind, doing your thing. But it seems like this is going to be a problem for these two because Jordan actually does not want to talk about his work. I think it's because he hates his job, okay? That's just me. I think it's actually because he hates his job and he does not want to make a fool of himself on national television. And you also have to keep in mind, Jordan likes to joke. He likes to joke around. And one thing I've noticed about men who like to joke around, even though I really appreciate them, I like a guy who makes me laugh, is sometimes they do use those jokes as a coping mechanism and they don't want to face what's really dealing head on. So there's also that dynamic. I don't know if that's what's happening here, but it's just like, does Jordan use jokes in his job to get ahead and now he just wants to be like chill dad? It makes sense. It's very understandable and I don't blame him for that. But Megan wants human connection. So it's like, I don't know. They're actually the only couple listen, I'm not rooting for any couple this season, but they're actually the only one I feel like they can work it out. Like their problems are understandable, but they can work it out and they have the personality to work it out. I feel like they're both mature and they can get there, but I don't know. We're going to see. All right, so I'm going to get into wedding predictions. Who do I think will say yes and no at the altar? So starting with the 6 couples who got engaged, including the ones who already left. There was Nick and Annie. Nick and Annie are no longer here. KB and Edmund, they're still here for some reason. Madison and Joe are no longer here. Eleni and Anton, Megan and Jordan, and finally Patrick and Casey, and thank God they're no longer here. So out of our 6 couples, we only have 3 couples left. Megan and Jordan, Eleni and Anton, and KB and Edmund. And out of these 3 couples, I think maybe just Megan and Jordan are going to say yes. And I know they have their differences, but I think they can work it out. I feel like those differences are not so big. I feel like it is doable, but it's going to take a lot of communication and dedication. And Jordan's parents did say marriage is 92% perseverance, 8% love. And I completely agree with that. You have to choose that person every single day. And it is an act that you make every single day. Unfortunately, I don't think love is enough, even though some people are like, love is enough. Well, okay. We're going to disagree on that. But I think they can make it, but you just need to communicate. KB and Edmund is an obvious no. It's an obvious no. And I hope KB is the one who says no. Absolutely not. Anton and Alini, I'm still going to stick by what I said. I think Alini is here to grow her social media following. And you go, girl. And Anton may or may not be an alcoholic. So, it's a no for me. So that is it. That is my wedding prediction. Please let me know what you thought of this review in the comment section below. And I'll see you next week. Bye.